Hello, my name is Lee with Godsey Ag. We're out here in the shop today working on a couple pumps that came in. Thought we'd take a minute to shoot a video to walk through some of the processes we go through whenever we get pumps to come into us, and give you a little bit of a breakdown on how they operate and talk a little bit about the typical pumps that we sell and service here at Godsey Ag. So what we've got here on the table is a couple of SurePoint PumpRite series pumps. One is the Gen 1 D series pump, and one is the newer PR series pumps. So I'm just going to go through some components on them, talk a little bit about how they operate and things you can look for and things that we look for whenever they come in to do some basic repairs. So this parts we see here are from a PR30 pump. It's one of SurePoint's newer style pumps. And once they come in, we kind of visually inspect them, and then we'll start disassembling to get them down into some other components. The owner of this pump stated that it leaked a little bit and it stopped pumping all of a sudden, stopped turning. So tore it apart, went through, pulled off the motor and the PWM block. To always check that to look if there's any leaks. A shaft seal is not an uncommon thing to have leaking. If you do have some type of a leak, that's something we always look for. Once we pulled that off, I went ahead and started pulling the pump apart and instantly saw some bad things. When I started opening it up, I started seeing some blue plastic pieces. These are the valves, the one-way valves that help this pump operate, where it pulls in, and then as it pressures up, another valve on the other side of the head releases the pressure, and that's how these pumps operate. It's just a piston operated pump. Well, in this case, we have our suspicions this one probably had some overpressure at some point, and 3 of those on the inlet, it actually broke the brackets off the back, so that's probably an indicator of some extra pressure. Well, when it broke one of those, it sent the spring and the stainless steel valve head out, and it actually buried it into one of our covers. So you can see it actually came through the plastic, which caused it to leak. And also, as it sat there broken and stuck in this head, this bolt off of the piston was hitting that and not allow it to make complete revolutions. So it was locked up and it was not going to operate anymore. So the PR30, in this instance, the PR30, the difference between it and the old D series, it uses poly heads. Everything is polymer or stainless steel, so there's less corrosion, and it's a little bit more robust design from a longevity standpoint in maintenance. When we move over here to the next pump on the table, this is a D115. It's the first version of the PumpRite pumps that SurePoint Ag had out on the market. And the biggest difference between them, operationally they're the same. The biggest difference is these heads are aluminum coated in a plastic. So as long as that plastic stays intact, they tend to work pretty good. And we still have a lot of these good old pumps out still working. But sometimes you'll see where you'll get some corrosion, some breaking of the plastic. Some examples are inside of this manifold. Once that plastic breaks, it starts to pull fertilizer underneath and it starts to corrode the aluminum. And you can see on these two, we had the same issue there. Some other things, once we got this pump pulled apart, it's got the old diaphragm. It's not a blue diaphragm, so that tells us it's a little bit older pump, hasn't been serviced for a while. And this diaphragm is actually broken. So this pump has got some issues. We're going to continue to kind of go through and determine if it's of value to fix it, or if we're going to get to the point where we have so much labor and parts into it that it's just going to be more cost effective for the owner to replace that with a newer PR series of pump. The nice thing about the PR series of pumps is they tend to have a smaller footprint than the old D series, so they're typically going to fit anywhere that a D series pump was. So it's a pretty straightforward, with a little bit of plumbing you can usually go through and get those replaced and repaired. They also do, and if we see the stands here that these came off of, they've got the flow meters on them. All of these will utilize the SurePoint electromagnetic flow meters, different gallon per minutes depending on the size of the pump. And we also are working on ways to go through and test those and ensure that those are working for the producer once they get them back out in the field. So as you get closer to fall, start wrapping up harvest here in a couple of months, this is a good time to start thinking about some maintenance. And we are always looking for things to work on in this shop here, and we're always willing to take pumps and work on those if it's even if it's a simple inspection. If there's something that you know you had an issue with at the end of planting season, this is the time to start thinking that through and giving us a call and trying to schedule time for us to work on some of those things. So again, this was just kind of a real quick example of what it looks like when we start working on and tearing pumps apart. So if you have any questions or want to start getting your pumps around and in for service, feel free to contact us at our contact information, which we will have available on our website. Hello, my name is